Good morning, YouTube, BookTube. This is Johnny. Time to make a video. It's been at least a day. Today is June the 28th, 2023. It is 6:37 in the morning. As I look outside, you can see the smoke from the fires, from the forest fires up in Canada. The sky is hazy with smoke. Chicago is covered with smoke from the fires, from the Canadian forest fires. There are millions and millions of acres are on fire throughout Canada, just not in one place, all over Canada. And then you have the extreme heat in Texas, over 100 degrees. And then you have the daily massacres of people killing each other. And then you have an ex-president who calls people who FBI and the Justice Department and all those people thugs. Yeah, so it's a wonderful world that we live in. So let's have fun. Anyway, before I turned on this camera, these verses from 2 Timothy chapter 3 came to my mind, and I thought I'd read them. But know this, that in the last days perilous times would come, for men would be lovers of themselves, lovers of money. For men would be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, unloving, unforgiving, slanderers, without self-control, brutal, despisers of good, having a form of godliness but denying its power, and from such people turn away. For this sort are those who creep into households and make captives gullible women, loaded down with sin, led away by various lusts, always learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth. That verse used to scare me years ago when I was in the far country and backslidden many, many years ago. Always learning and never able to come to knowledge of the truth. So I thought I'd read those verses. So I'm drinking coffee this morning. I got up at 5 o'clock. And I know why I woke up early, because I'm kind of excited that my wife comes home today. Every time she's away for long periods of time, and I know she's going to be home, I can't sleep. I just have to get up. So I got up at 5 o'clock. Been writing in my diary. I'm on page 549 for today. Reading the Love of Christ, expository sermons from the Song of Solomon, chapters 4 through 6. Reading that, drinking coffee. I suppose I haven't told you, but for 2 weeks we could not use our kitchen sink. Our sewage system, or the drain from our kitchen, was clogged. And plumbers are so busy and so backed up and lack of manpower that we had to be on a waiting list. And yesterday the plumbers came, spent 4 hours, replaced piping and cleared the drains. And so that's exciting. And then Ollie, my oldest son's dog, and his family got back from Denver, Colorado. As I told you, our family met. They rented a house in Rocky Mountain National Park, Estes Park, and everybody got together. Our son Josiah and his wife Hannah and Marika and Lydia, and of course our daughter Beth and her family. They live in Denver, and then just Caleb and Emily and the girls drove out there, and they got back yesterday about 5:30. They picked up Ollie, and Ollie was so happy to see his family, his tribe, his pack. So when they left, I mowed the lawn, and then I cleaned the house and did laundry and getting prepared for my wife to come home And of course, as you know, we're going to have new floors put into the house. So they're going to rip up the carpet and lay down wood vinyl flooring on the 11th of July. So we got to pack up our stuff, and we have movers. They're going to come the day before. They'll move all the stuff out of the house, put it in the garage, and we'll box a lot of the stuff. And then the flooring will come down in one day, and then the next day the movers will come and move everything back into the house. But enough of preliminaries here. I thought I did a Friends of the Library used book sale 1, so this is Friends of the Library used book sale number 2. I made a list. When I buy books from thrift stores or used book sales, I always list them in my online diary, Crooked Fingers, and then I paste that list underneath the videos that I make in YouTube. So I'm going by the list of the sequence of books. And I stopped at Victoria, London, The Tale of a City, 1840 to 1870 by Lisa Pellard. And I'm trying to show at least 10 books, because I got at least 30 books, maybe more, probably more, about 40. So I'm going to show you this is the second video and I'll show you the books. First of all, I mentioned in my last video I got a book in the mail and I've been reading it, Always Crashing in the Same Car, a novel after David Bowie by Lance Olsen. I read a long time ago Lance Olsen's book Nietzsche's Kisses, and someone in BookTube did a video of a book by Lance Olsen, and it got me interested. I think this is his newest book, Always Crashing in the Same Car. I think this is the new one. And I watched a video, 2023. So, since I read this one a long time ago, I thought I'd read his newest one, Lance Olsen. And so I've been reading this. And I've been rereading, I just pre-ordered this guy's new book. This is an older one. He has a new one coming out. I don't have the full title in front of me, but I've been rereading this. Time of the Musicians, Wittgenstein, Benjamin, Heidegger, I can't pronounce all these names, and The Decade That Reinvented Philosophy by Wolfram Edenberger. So I've been rereading this, and I've been rereading also books, a memoir by Larry McMurtry. As you know, I still got a cold, so if I cough, forgive me. I've had this for 2 weeks. Anyway, enough with the books. Been 8 minutes, and I'm going to start. The list starts with an autobiography by Theodore Dreiser. I saw this at the library used book sale, and I didn't know what it was, but then I was looking through it, and it's an autobiography by Theodore Dreiser. As you all know, I've mentioned over the years, when I was in my early 20s, I was really into naturalism, realism literature, and one of the books that really impacted me when I was really young was Theodore Dreiser's book, The American Tragedy, which is, I have it on my table downstairs. And I went through a period where I read his novels, The Financer, Sister Carrie, Daisy, and I have 2 biographies by Theodore Dreiser, and this is his autobiography, and I think it basically covers his early youth. He was a journalist. Anyway, I found that. And then I collect books by Mark Kurlansky. This one I didn't have. This is, I can't pronounce it, Burlesque. It's History of the World. I have a whole stack of his books. They're all kind of like subject matter, like Cod, a biography of a fish that changed the world. The Continent of Islands, Searching for the Caribbean, Destiny, The Chosen Few, The Resurrection of European Jewry, Salt, A World History. I have a lot of his books. He kind of just writes books like that. I was going to show them, but I didn't have this one by him. So I kind of collect him. And then, as you know, I collect books on Boston. And in library thing, it says I have this already, but I don't know where it is. Boston Immigrants by Oscar Handlin. So I picked that up. This book by Oscar Handlin is the first historical case study of the impact of immigrants upon a particular society and the adjustment of the immigrants in that society. The writer has opened a new field for historical research and has also made a significant contribution to the literature of race and cultural contacts, American Journal of Sociology. So I collect books in Boston, so I got that. Then this is, I collect history. This is The Confident Hope of a Miracle, The True History of the Spanish Armada by Neil Hanson. We all know, we've always heard the story of the Spanish Armada and how the storm wrecked when they were going to invade England, and the storm came and destroyed the Spanish Armada, and then British contributed to divine providence and saving the nation. And then I collect the novels of Jim Harrison. I had this in paperback, or I had a hardback edition that was beat up, and this was what I found at the library used book sale that was in good condition. I really enjoy the writings of Jim Harrison. He passed away the summer he didn't die. All the covers are usually like this. There's a picture of him. Also, I had this book too, but mine was really beat up, and this is I think it was, and so it's called Voyager, The Travel Writings of Russell Banks. So this was in perfect condition. Russell Banks is one of my favorite American writers. He's written all kinds of novels. The one that you remember is like Trailer Park, Continental Drift, Affliction, Rule of the Bone, Cloud Spitter, Angel on the Roof. I think Angel on the Roof are short stories. Lost Memory of Skin, The Book of Jamaica, Family Life. Anyway, he's one of my favorite writers. These are his travel writings. The Voyager by Russell Banks. Also, I had this in paperback. This is by Mario Vargas Llyosa. I have a whole shelf of his writings. He was born in Peru. He's written all kinds of novels. Conversation in the Cathedral, Aunt Julia and the Scriptwriter, The War of the End of the World. Now, The War of the End of the World by him is one of my favorite books. I read it a couple of years ago, and I really got into his writings, and I found a perfect... Now, he's been translated by Helen Lane. But he's one of my favorite South American writers. I was really I have a whole show. I think I showed you all The Storyteller and all his novels. He's written all kinds. He's considered one of South America's great writers. And then I collect books on American colonial history, and this is Philadelphia, 300-year history of Philadelphia. And what this is, you can see all the names at the bottom. These are different articles or essays on the 300-year history of Philadelphia. Like the first one, the founding, 1681 to 1701, by Mary Maples and Dunn and Richard S. Dunn. It just goes the border city in the Civil War, 1854 to 1865, by Russell F. Weigley. The Depression and War, 1929 to 1946, by Margaret B. Tincombe. Just a bunch of essays on the history, 400-year history of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So I got that. And all these books were just $2. At the book sale, books were $2, hardbacks, and paperbacks were $1.50. And then I bought, lastly, The English Civil War, Papists, Gentlewomen, Soldiers, and Witchfinders in the Birth of Modern Britain by Diane Purkiss. I collect books on British history. This covers the time of the English Puritans, the 17th century. It mentions Oliver Cromwell, the Civil War. So the English Civil War. So these kind of books. I like American history, British history. I collect books on Boston, Massachusetts. I collect the writings of Llyosa. And I collect books. I've read a lot of Russell Banks books, especially his book Affliction, Trailer Parks. The Cloud Spitter is about John Brown from around the Civil War. And of course, I have a huge Jim Harrison collection. He was a poet, a writer. He lived in Upper Michigan, and of course, he lived out west too for a while. So I picked that up. And then I collect history. This is on the Spanish Armada, Competent Hope of a Miracle. So these are the kind of things that I like to read. And of course, I got this Basque, History of the World. I can't pronounce names, but I just like to collect his books. So then I have a next list I'll show. And then I probably got one, well, there's another one, 3, 4, and 5. I got at least 3 more videos on the Friends of the Library used book sale. Of course, Theodore Dreiser. I have 2 biographies. I have his writings downstairs. Like I said, when I was really young, I read The American Tragedy, and I was into like those kinds of writers like Sherwood Anderson, people like that. So this is his autobiography, a book about myself. And yeah, check out Lance Olsen. This is his, when this came out, I think in 2006, this one. One thing, you know, I looked at Lance Olsen's books. He wrote 30 books, and he was a poet. They're very rare, very expensive, and out of print. This came out in 2006, and this is 2023. Always Crashing in the Same Car. A novel after David Bowie. Really enjoying this. I really like it. And if you like history of modern philosophy, Time the Musicians, can't pronounce the guy's name, but he has a new book out, coming out. I pre-ordered it. And really enjoying rereading Larry McMurtry's books, a memoir, and reading The Love of Christ, Sermons on the Song of Solomon by Richard Sibbes, the English Puritan. I also been reading it from his works, Richard Sibbes. The sermons are in here too, as they're in here. This is in the book form, and so I've been reading that. So I hope you having a good reading week. I hope you're all doing well. I'm slowly getting better, not feeling so sick. So I'll sign off. I'm supposed to get some books in the mail, some biographies. I'll put these books down the lower level. And until next time, I'll make another video. I don't know when. Sometime this week. I'm sure my wife will be trying to catch up with all her friends and all her activities. And I'll have time in the mornings to make videos. So I hope you're all doing well. I hope that the smoke is not affecting you from the forest fires, that you live in Texas, that you're finding, you know, we lived in Texas for 5 years, in Houston, Texas, and it was always hot. And of course, as far as politics, all we can do is pray, come Lord Jesus, bring in the eternal kingdom of glory, throw down all the dictators, and may He give us righteous, wise rulers. So until next time, and once again, thank you for your comments. Thank you for subscribers. Do thank you for all your prayers. And do pray that the Lord would be blessing you. And until next time, bye.